We were back there a little bit too enamored with the Beatles soundtrack, lost track of time. You know how it goes. Everybody, welcome to Rooster Teeth Expo 2013. First of all, apologies. Where are my manners? I'm wearing something ridiculous, so everybody say hi to the camera in my eye. And now, because I look like an idiot, I'm taking it off. There you go. So I was here last year. This year I'm with the Rocket Jump / Video Game High School team. This is Matt Arnold.
Hello.
Co-creator, co-director, writer that complains the most out of all of them. This here is Des Dolly.
Hi guys.
Producer, editor, post-production extraordinaire. What else? Everything. Everything.
A little bit of everything.
We're really excited today because we are bringing to you guys, everyone sitting in this room, the first look at the trailer for Season 2 of Video Game High School. Nobody else has seen this except us and probably the cleaning people in our hotel.
The cleaning people.
So this is it. This is like the exclusive first look for everything on it. We're really excited to show you guys this. We'll show you in just a second, but what was it like? So we've been in the middle of post-production of Season 2 for
4 months
now.
5 months.
And we're putting out the first episode on July 25th, so later this month. And
really?
Is it?
That's happening?
Come on. Let me check my calendar. July 25th. Ooh, that's this month.
It's soon. I better get back to work.
We gotta go. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
We finished picture locking the first 3 episodes. Going into VFX right now. A lot of the VFX have come in, and then next is sound mixing. And actually, our composer is recording music with a 50-man orchestra tomorrow. We're missing it, but yeah, we're using a live orchestra, which is awesome.
So, enough talk. Who wants to see a trailer? Let's cue up the trailer then. I like to see it in
Oh, it's quite a story, all right. It's the story of an FPS wunderkind and the school that turned their backs against him. It's gonna be the story of my redemption. Because the law never breaks, the law never bends, the law... Oh, heavens above, see? Ugh.
This is gonna be a weird year, Brian.
You said it, Key. Here's the trailer, everyone.
Let's go! Video games! Let's card.
Let's meet the new coach.
Great seconds late, Jenny. Off to a bad start. Mom?
As RA, I flex my way around creative challenges all the time. No silly string, no pets. Now clean up!
Regale us with your tales of daring do. Any complications? Any other households?
Explosive chemistry.
You are counting my man right there. Laying it down, large and in charge. Give me the bones. Pound it. Right here. Knuckle sandwich. Right.
We finished that about 30 minutes ago, actually.
Yeah.
We're sitting in my hotel room. Let me tell you a quick story. When you bring a computer, like the full computer, i.e. not a laptop, in your carry-on bags, it looks a lot like a bomb.
There's literally nothing that looks more like a bomb.
So like I put my thing on the thing, I take my shoes off, I put the thing on, and I pull this, like I have like a carrying handle, and I yank it out, and it's just this giant electronic box, and I put it down, and look around, and everyone's like, Yeah, they swabbed it. And then Matt, of course, on the way out, he's like, Freddie, within earshot, by the way, of everybody working at the TSA, he's like, Freddie, you know that that thing looks
Like a bomb.
totally like a bomb. It's like, do you really? Like, can we just?
You don't say the B word
I
in
said it
front of
probably a
TSA.
few times, yeah.
It's like 15 feet further away. No, couldn't wait for that one. No, we might have missed this panel entirely. So yeah, I think as you can see, hopefully as is evidence for those of you who are familiar with the first season, we've gotten a little bit of an upgrade in terms of our look, in terms of the action, in terms of what we're doing. The first season, when we cut it together, ended up being pretty much a 2-hour movie, and you can see it on Netflix as a 2-hour movie, and I think it actually works better as that long, continuous thing, the web series kind of put all together. So for the second season, we said, well, you know, we could do that again. We could kind of try and take a movie and try and cut it up. Or we could go crazier with it and give ourselves a lot more work and do 6 TV-length episodes. So that's what we're doing for the second season. Instead of doing web series, instead of doing 8 minutes, because we heard so many people, like they would say, oh, I just got into the episode and then end it, and you made me wait a week. I'm like, oh, that sucks, because you know, it gets to a point in the episode, and you're like, oh, this is cool, and then
Well, the last episode was 22 minutes, and everybody's response was, why isn't every episode that length? So I think right now our shortest episode is 28 minutes, and the longest is 34. So they're all about 30 minutes long.
So if you guys like sitting around watching things on the internet, boy, do we have a web series for you. Yeah.
All right.
So we're going to see how that goes, because it's definitely kind of new territory, right? Because nobody else is really trying, I mean, other than like actual TV. So it's like actual TV will go on Hulu and Netflix, and they can be that long. But I don't know of any other web series that are just like that length. So we'll see how people react to it. I think it plays a lot better in a sort of TV episode length, but again, a lot of stuff, as with everything that we do, quite a bit of experimentation and just winging it, throwing things against the wall, seeing what sticks, seeing what blows through the wall, having to replace the wall, going to Home Depot, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, it allowed us to do a lot more video games, which is one thing we got. Everybody was like, why is every single thing first-person shooter? And that was Brian's story. So once we split up into episodes, we could do a Key story or a Ted story, which you just go-karting there, there's fighting, there's some Skyrim-style stuff, so there's a whole bunch of different stuff this time.
We were, unfortunately, unable to do the space sim that we wanted to do. The flying around, couldn't get up into space.
Yeah, it's too expensive.
Yeah, I mean, well, everything we do is just no VFX actually this time around. All real fire on the hands, practical rockets and stuff. So yeah. So again, we're really excited about season 2. I just want to take a quick poll of the audience. I want to see, show of hands. How many people in here are like video makers? They have cameras. They put stuff online. They're people who like to make stuff. Oh wow, it's about a third of the crowd. Yeah,
That's a lot.
And then how many people here are people who watch videos? Like, yeah, good, perfect.
All right.
All right.
That was about a little more than I expected, actually. Yeah, usually. How many people are just people who just go to any convention that happens to be in Austin? A few of them. Okay. Convention groupies, welcome.
Well,
It's not that much to do, I guess.
sorry that you've stumbled into this.
I think next week there's a nursing one that's going to be a little more
Dental.
interesting. Yeah, dental one.
All right.
So I'm going to be honest. We didn't have a big plan in terms of like things we wanted to talk about. Like last year, you know, I did the keynote was like, oh, talking about online video and stuff and where that is, and we can get into that a little bit. But I don't know, I think it's just more interesting for everyone to have more of a back and forth in the conversation. Just whatever you think, whatever topic you think are interested in, and anything you guys want to ask, we'll get to that. Let's just do that right now. You guys want to just get to questions and just start talking?
Let's get to.
Let's just start talking.
Let's talk to the people.
So I think there are microphones positioned in the middle of the aisles to the left and to the right.
We actually mounted a little GoPro there.
Yeah, if you want to
So
be
anyone
seen
who
on
lines up
camera.
over here, you'll be on camera.
So if you want to be on the camera mic, it's the one over there. If you don't, head over to the one on the right there. While people get queued up, I think we should talk a little bit about the production of season 2 and the scale of it. Yeah. So
How about 48?
Well, yeah. Let's talk about 48. How many people saw Hobbit in high frame rate? Now, hold on. Keep your hands up if this is true. Hold up. How many people saw Hobbit in high frame rate? Keep it up if you liked it in high frame rate. Okay, good. There's only like 3. You heard 3 like hands hitting the laps, right? It's like, ugh. Whew. So we're doing the action scenes in high frame rate. We didn't have it for this trailer, but the idea of it is everything inside the video game is shot at 48 frames a second, like the Hobbit high frame rate stuff. Because when people were going to see The Hobbit, all the reviews and complaints against it were like, this looks just like a video game. I'm like, perfect. Yes. Finally. So all the action scenes have this sort of smooth look to it, and it's, by the way, a nightmare when it comes to trying to do that, because as far as we can tell, there's one software package that does it, and it's like $250,000. They ship it to you in a shipping container, and a dude comes with it to help you out, like set it up. It's like one of those things where it's like, you can't do this. You can't put a man in.
Well, we had this moment where we usually just Google answers.
Yeah.
And we were trying to figure out how to export this thing. And Ben Waller, one of the guys that works on this, he Googled, and the only thing he could find on Google is our own question to Adobe.
Right.
Like,
The top Google responses are our Google questions. Somebody please help us.
If you Google export 4.8, you'll just see us desperately crying out into the internet saying, how does anybody do this?
But we figured it out. We have a
No, we haven't.
hack together workflow. Yeah, it's a hack together workflow. We're working on unhacking it.
Yeah.
So 48 is going to be fun. We're going to have a special player on our site, and just to show that off, we also shot more this year in terms of action too. So last year, season 1, the entirety of all the action in that show is like done over the course of what, 2 days?
2 days.
And a half, and then another day for just the driving stuff.
Yeah.
Here, we upped that to a total of
Like 6
or 7 total days of action. The crazy thing is we're in LA and we actually got snowed in, which is weird because you're in LA and you're like, okay, we can't shoot right now because there's snow on the ground and none of the trucks can get here. We're like, how are we? The palm trees? Like, where are we shooting right now that we have snow? Turns out you can get snow in LA if you go north enough. So we actually had snow there. It's probably the first time in my life that I heard that class is canceled, work is canceled because of snow, because of weather. I'm like, no, which is a horrible feeling. It's when you know that you've grown up, when you no longer have any joy from snow days. Anyway,
Everybody wanted the camera.
I know, everybody wants to be on
They all
camera. That's
moved
great.
over. All right. Let's do it.
If you want to get, okay, yeah, all right. Wait, hold on. Look at the camera right now. Is it rolling?
It has some time key on it.
It has what?
It has a time key on it, but I don't know if it's on or not.
Is it like a red light blinking at you?
No.
Uh-oh.
Time code should be rolling. It's rolling.
Good.
All right.
Some guy knows what's up.
Okay, first, Freddie, thank you for all your videos you make. Been a long-time subscriber. This is beyond cool. Have there been any major differences in the audio, in terms of audio production between season 1 and season 2?
Ooh, big differences in audio. Number one, we are doing a 5:1 surround mix, as was stipulated in one of our Kickstarter stretch goals. So we hit that. So we're doing a full 5:1 audio mix, so people who get the DVD at home can experience things coming out of the speakers in the back that they didn't even realize they had. So we have 5 speakers. Look forward to 2 of them being slightly utilized now. We're also doing, as Matt mentioned earlier, live score. So our orchestra, normally there's sort of 3 levels of it. The top level is the Hollywood, like $2 million to do full orchestra, John Williams style. That's just super expensive. The next level down is what we're doing, which is do the live orchestra, but not in this country, over in Eastern Europe, where they're a little harder up on cash. And the musicians are just as good, though, because they got that Eastern European discipline, right? Yeah. So that's what we're doing. We're recording that over the course of the next couple of weeks. So the score and the audio, the music's going to be taken up a notch. And then the third level, by the way, in terms of just the cheapness, is to do sampled instruments and a little bit of live score, which is what most TV shows do, except for Lost. Lost is like notably live score.
We're doing like a mix. We budgeted for like 50 minutes of live music, and I think we're recording 75. Okay. It's a lot. It's a lot of music. So I think we're doing 3 separate days, and it's actually the same orchestra that does like...
You can't count the 10 minutes of you just beatboxing over that.
There's some beatboxing, but there's it's the same like orchestras that do like Gears of War and stuff like that. A lot of video game companies use the Eastern European orchestra, so it'll sound really good.
That's very cool. Thank you all very much.
Also, we made sure the mics were on this season. Big problem last time.
That's actually true. He's not joking.
You guys said you guys said you were shooting in high frame rate.
Yes.
So I guess you'll be shooting in 4K.
Yes.
5K.
5K. 5 whole Ks.
HD, man. Ultra.
Yeah.
What type of camera are you using?
We are shooting this season. So first season we did on the Sony F3 and the Sony EX1. This season, we upgraded out to the Red Epic and the Red Scarlet as our B cam. So Red Epic was an A cam, Red Scarlet was a B cam, and then during the shoots for pickups, we were doing everything else. Like every camera we had for pickups were in this. We got GoPro, F3 as well.
FS700 for slow motion.
FS700 for the super slow-mo stuff, if you remember in the trailer.
60D.
So yeah, pretty much any camera we can get our hands on, but primarily the Red this time around.
Sweet, cheers.
Yep.
All right, Lewis.
Thanks, Lewis.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, Freddie, you're pretty awesome.
Thank you.
But
Matt's awesome too, guys.
I wanted to ask you that because you're having longer episodes and you're focusing on like the main characters and stuff, like having little side stories for them. Are some of the more minor characters like Games Dean coming back? They can have like little mini stories for them too.
Yeah, not so much Games Dean, which is sad because it's Benji. Games Dean's in it for sure, but a lot more DK. There's a lot of Key. There's a new character called Shane Pizza, who's the head of the RTX team, who's kind of like Key's bad guy. A lot of the FPS players you see more of, Jenny, and then her mom's a new character. So yeah, because it's a serialized TV format, there's a lot of, when you have a main story with Ted, that means you get to see more of the racers, you know, like Clutch and Nitro, you get the whole team and stuff. So there's a lot more people and they have a lot more screen time than they did the first season. The first season was essentially Karate Kid, you know, in FPS with Brian. So Brian was the main character, everybody else was a side story to him. This time, kind of everybody's a star in it.
Yeah, because if you go back and look at Ted's storyline, how many scenes does Ted's entire story arc
take place? It's like 4 scenes that are actually like Ted and Freddie. It's very, very short, actually. This time there's a lot of stuff.
So that's something that we get to do with television-length episodes. We can do the A plot, B plot, C plot, and all the letters of the alphabet plots that we want to.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. It's so weird because usually it's like, all right, over here. Mm-hmm. No one wants to be there.
Just first, you know, thank you for everything. Can't wait for season 3 to back it up on Kickstarter too.
Ooh, yeah. And then, you know, I'm gonna ask a question about that in just a second. Remind me to do that. About season 3.
And can you pass a thank you to Brandon for all those tutorials he's been putting up?
Yes,
because those are awesome.
Definitely.
And so, VGHS is very reminiscent of the old school Pure Ownage web series. I wonder if y'all saw any of that, and if that had any kind of...
Yeah, and you know, the funny thing about the Pure Ownage stuff was, you guys know Clint Ponisher, he's a guy who works with us, he has a channel of his own, he's done the Cardboard Warfare series. He's put in, I forget who from Pure Ownage, but he's used, those guys as well. They're up in Canada. Yeah, I mean, I hadn't actually seen through the whole series of it. Video Game High School, like, for us, was actually more, what we looked to was like the old...
like John Hughes and Freaks
yeah.
and Geeks.
Like old high school movie type of stuff that we were more familiar with to go back to as a template for it. But yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely a thing that has a lot of people drawn upon.
I saw Pure Ownage after everybody started saying, have you seen Pure Ownage? So I finally watched it like last year. But yeah, not before.
Matt, shame on you.
And I hadn't seen it, sorry.
So, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries.
It works.
Yep, got it.
Just make sure.
Nailed it.
You never know. Technology, not really efficient. I mean, whatever. Hi, Freddie. It's a little nervous. You're really big.
Thank
awesome
you.
stuff. I can't really think of what to say. My brain and mouth are not at the same pace.
It's all right.
Or really in the same dimension, I'd say. But
I'm still asleep back in my hotel room, so it's all good.
It's all good.
yeah.
About 20 minutes, I'm like, I'm going for the panel. Wait a minute.
I honestly want to know, how hard is it to make your videos, like the basic videos that you usually do? I've never really known.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess so. So for the longest time, and so this is actually, you know what? Let's dig in deep here. Let's talk a little bit about our lives and and where we're going and what we want to do with our lives. So we've been doing weekly videos for like 3 years. Yeah, I started in March of 2010, and something we realized was after you pull a lot of all-nighters, you can't really do that anymore. Like your body starts to change.
We're old.
You get older. Not to say that like we're super old, but it's definitely not as crazy as it used to be. And we realized that it's not a pace that we can keep up with anymore. It's not one. Also, it's one that we necessarily don't want to keep up with at all because when you're doing just one short video a week at the sort of level of the kind of things that we were doing, I'm not talking about one video a week for vlog stuff or gaming stuff, which you're able to do more of, but at that pace, you find that at a certain point you're just like, man, I can't do anything else, because we were doing like Monday shoot, Tuesday edit, Wednesday sound visual effects, Thursday sound visual effects, Friday color correct music, Friday all the way up until Saturday morning upload, and then Sunday sleep, and then again. Over and over and over and over, weeks at a time. And the problem is you can't do anything else. So we could never have done Video Game High School if we didn't take a break from doing all of this short video stuff. So we're getting to a point where we still want to do the short stuff. We still think it's a lot of fun, and as far as
hot mic.
Hot mic. As far as the difficulty in terms of doing it, yeah, it's definitely something that you get better at over time because we had a lot of practice. If you just count the weeks in 3 years, we've had 120, 130, something like that, short films to practice on. So it's gotten easier because you get used to that cycle. But we're at the point where we kind of want to get to maybe like a South Park style type of time frame where what they'll do is they'll go on for a while, and here's 4 months of episodes, and then we need to stop and do other stuff with our lives and do other things. And here's another 4 months. So we kind of split up into seasons, so to speak, and which is kind of a difficult thing because everyone's used to one a week for a while. Everyone's used to just that constant, never-ending thing. But what we want to do is we want to try and do different things. VGHS is just one of like 20 series that we want to do, and we want to get all of them going and up and running. But you can't do that if you're spending all your time doing just shorts. So it's difficult, but what we found is the more difficult part of it is being able to do that and anything else with your life at the same time, and that's kind of what we're getting into. So season 2 is going to be coming out. We're hoping by the end of this year to kick off another series, in addition to getting sort of another season, quote unquote, of shorts back up and running again. But it's definitely a transitional year for us to go from, hey, here's a bunch of short form stuff one a week, to, hey, we want to be longer form. We want to tell stories that don't just start and end in the course of 3 minutes. As fun and as consumable as that is, it got to the point where it was just like, I think we're reaching the end of what we can do physically in a week, and we were interested in expanding that out. I hope that's okay with everyone. Just throwing that out there. Is it, okay, good. Just making sure.
He's good.
He's okay.
We got one, Matt. Cool. Yeah. I hope that answered your question in a very long and introspective, rambling way.
Why, hello there.
Hello.
Anyway, I was told to say that from one of my friends. So
okay, so that wasn't for us.
I've been loving your guys' podcasts. I love Node and everything you guys have done and how you work with Corridor Digital. And my question was, and you kind of half answered it there with the longer episodes, the attention span of today's public watching YouTube videos. It seems like this is a backwards trend going to the longer videos when I know most people are looking for something shorter. How do you cut through the clutter of YouTube when you have like 100 hours per minute being uploaded so you can get those views, so you can grab the attention of that audience?
So, okay, I'm going to do this in sort of multiple parts because I think we have a chance of doing something interesting here. So, anybody who is 18 or younger, put your hands up, please. Let me see you. Okay, 18 or younger, of you guys, no, hold on, keep them up. And look around, everybody. So 18 or younger, of you guys, how many people primarily watch videos on their phones? Wow, okay. Of the people who are watching them on your phones, how long do you watch videos for? Is it like a minute at a time? Is it 2? I'm just gonna go count up. 2 minutes, 10 minutes? Hour? There's one hand in the back that's just rocking it. And he's looking at videos right now.
Watch an hour, yeah!
So everyone else, hands up on your computer, watching them on your computer. And of those computers, watching on a laptop primarily. Okay, so it's about even mix. How many of you throw it up on like a television, primarily? And if it's a longer one, you might put it on TV. Okay, interesting. So one of the interesting things that we found is, number one, it's a really wide range of, when you say that audience, it's a wide range of people, and it's a wide range of ways people watch things, I think for my age and that sort of generation, YouTube is like Wikipedia. Like you go there and you search for something you want to see, and then you look at it. As opposed to, I don't know anybody of my circle of friends who are like, bother commenting, bother rating, bother subscribing, any of those things that are such a big staple of what people ask for on YouTube. And there's also, we found, especially talking to a younger crowd, even younger than people in here, is phone watching is huge. Of our videos, I believe the number is like 62% of all the views that we have are off a mobile phone, which doesn't seem right? It's like, really? More than half of the people watch it just on their phone. And it's a different way of consuming things. So to get to your question of like, okay, attention span, and what we found in episode 8, or episode 9 of the first season was that by that point, that 22-minute episode was able to sustain everyone else all the way through it.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it is that you're saying YouTube is this like platform. I think when YouTube started, it was just small videos were being passed around. But as TVs and computers have merged, I'm assuming many of you probably have your TVs hooked up to your computers, or you have smart TVs, or you have apps with YouTube and stuff like that. So YouTube and Hulu and Netflix are more or less becoming the same thing. So yes, YouTube is definitely a platform where people share and stuff like that. But I watch shows, you know, British shows or anything on YouTube, and I just put it on my TV, and it's no different than going on Netflix. In which case, you know, Hulu and Netflix are the vast majority of the bandwidth right now on the internet. So as far as attention span, you're just talking about using YouTube as a platform, as a new platform to reach the people who are still already watching 30 minutes. I mean, I'm assuming most of you watch HBO shows or anything, and people watch 2 to 2.5 hours on average of TV in a row. So it's more about finding a way to get our content to the level of television, which is kind of what we're attempting with season 2.
So, I mean, and then really what that comes down to is just making stuff that has, hopefully, fundamental story structure, has, you know, that would otherwise be good. So I think there's so many times web series get into a trap of, oh, that was good for a web series, the for a blank thing, which is like, if you think about it, like always kind of a backhanded compliment. You know, it's like, he's a good guitar player for a guy with no hands. You know, it's like, he's actually not that good, but for a guy with no hands.
Nobody has no hands here.
Well, no, sorry if anybody is. Yeah. But anytime someone says, you know, it's a good blank for something else, then it's like, okay, well, then you haven't really, because if it was really, really good, if it was actually that level of quality, it would just be, this is a good thing, this is a good show, this is a good thing you should watch. It's not qualified in any way. So we're in this world now where stuff online is still being qualified by the people who make it, I think, by the people who watch it, and we're kind of clawing our way towards, no, it's just online, but it's still good, it's still a good show. It could be anywhere. So that's really the key, I think.
Well, that was wonderful. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hey there.
Hello. Is the mic a little low for you?
Yeah, no, I'm a really big guy. So I want to tell you, Milkman is the best video ever of all time.
Milkman's such a gross video.
I know, it's great.
That was like the grossest thing to shoot too, because it was at night and everyone was soaked with flour water, and poor Brett took it in. Just, ugh. We're going to be doing a sequel very soon.
That's awesome.
I don't know what I can say about it, especially since it's streaming online. But the sequel will be a bigger expansion of the Milkman universe and tied in with something else that's happening in a movie sense this summer that may or may not have something to do with kind of the genre that Milkman sits in. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
All right, so my question is, how did you get in the video with Rob Scallon where you played the Guitar Bandit?
Oh, so that was like the YouTube Comedy Week, which was, I felt bad because they're like, this is YouTube Comedy Week. And it's like, you're setting yourself up so hard when it's like, this week, all the videos are comedy videos. And the easiest thing in the world is to just be like, I didn't think that was funny. And it's like, oh, sorry, haha, you know. But that was a video that they did for Comedy Week, and he just emailed me out of the blue. And he said, hey, do you play guitar? I was like, yes, I do. He's like, could you play guitar for this thing? I was like, all right. A lot of times the interactions at the high level of just getting people to show up in videos is as easy as emailing and, all right. And that's it. That was basically it.
Well, thanks.
I'm sorry there was not a more interesting email exchange that happened.
Hey, Freddie, it's awesome to finally see you in person. But I gotta ask, you guys have a lot of amazing props. Do you actually make them yourselves, or do you do it through like a studio or something?
So it's a mix. Some of the props we do, we just find and we buy. Amazon Prime is probably the world's #1 prop house. Number 2 is some of the stuff we make. Des, actually, all the stuff in your Resident Evil
short.
I made quite a bit of that, actually, yeah.
You're like old school practical guy.
Yeah, I used to, that's how I got into filmmaking, actually doing, you know, like making monster masks and stuff in my basement when I was a kid. So I've made a few props.
So it's a mix, but the Shotbot mask, for example, for season 2, and season 2 has a new Shotbot mask, which you saw hints of it in the trailer, and that was a good place to go if you're a filmmaker and you're looking for someone who can make costumes is find someone who does cosplay and someone who's good at cosplay, because they make everything they have like a good range of skills in terms of like textiles and molds and everything. It's actually a pretty good like just one-stop shop. Like, hey, we need a prop. That's this, and generally the cosplay folks are very good at doing that. So yeah.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. What is that?
I
can't tell. It's so bright up here. It's like a red paddle, a cricket paddle, a red cricket paddle. Okay, sword.
Yeah,
I heard cricket paddle. I don't know. I love, by the way, the mic is about 4 feet off the ground, and everybody approaching it has been ducking down to try and get.
It's like miniature. It's like for small people or something. Okay, so I just want to know.
Everybody's 7 foot tall.
I just want to know, was that really the same Harley from Epic Mealtime? Because he just kind of seemed like he bent over and took it.
He actually told us once that when people yell at him on the street, after season 1 came out, it shifted from sauce boss or bacon strips to why are you so mean to Brian on VGHS? Like people were getting angry at him for what his character was doing on the show, and he's like, he told us that he gets recognized more as Principal Dean Calhoun than as the sauce boss, which is actually
Actually, you do see him more in season 2. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so we definitely increased the Harley percentage because it was so much fun to have him do his thing season 1. So we've seen a lot more of Harley. He gets dressed up in a bunny suit in one episode. And he was okay with it, so we're like, yes. So, yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep. There we go, perfect height.
Howdy, howdy.
Nailed it.
This mic's a little short, maybe. You want me to raise it up for the people behind me? All right. So I liked Whose Gun Is It Anyway, the first one with hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah.
Is there going to be more hand-to-hand combat
So we
in
wanted to do,
VHHS?
yes, there's a huge wire fu sequence with Key.
And Ellery learned, she's like, there's only a stunt person for like 3 or 4 shots. She spent like 3 weeks or whatever learning this fight scene, so it's pretty cool. She's actually doing most of the fighting.
And she hooked up to a wire rig and everything, so yes, there's going to be more hand-to-hand, for sure. And it's always more fun to do hand-to-hand. Like, gun stuff is fun, but hand-to-hand stuff is like, so much more visceral, you know? So we're looking at doing more of a kung fu thing. We actually have like a hand-to-hand / high-action sort of Jackie Chan-esque series that's kind of cooking up in the background that, again, may be coming out as far as in regards to this expansion of trying to do more different types of series.
All right, thanks, guys.
The guy sounds like Logan.
A little bit, actually.
Yeah, podcaster.
Hey, so I'm just wondering, like, compared to the first season, how easy or even harder was it to make the second season with longer scenes, longer episodes, and just having to make a new plot that isn't Karate Kid?
2, which was the better of the Karate Kid movies?
It's always, it's kind of back to a guy asked that earlier. I was going to say something. It's always going to be as hard as you make it, and Pixar has this thing where they say they never finish a film, they just release it. So there's really I can't ever think of a time where I'm like, that's harder than this was, because you're constantly trying to make it better, which means that even if it's already really good, it's even harder to try to make it better. We were like, hey, it's going to be easier for season 2, because we know our characters and stuff like that, and then we switched the whole format, and it was a nightmare to write, just like season 1 was. I mean, it took us months, and we rewrote the thing a million times, so it was just different. It's always, I've never felt something easier. Yeah.
Some things get easier, so like the actors, everybody kind of knew the tone. So everybody just sort of fell into it right away. It was a lot faster to get takes done. But on the other hand, it was harder because we were much more piecemeal in terms of how we're shooting. We were all over the place in terms of the timing. We were shooting on stage. So it's always a sort of give and take, and it always ends up being about as hard as it make it.
Yeah, because when you shoot TV, usually you shoot it per episode, but we shot this as one big chunk over the course of 6 weeks, which means every time we had a scene, we were like, okay, like, Josh, this is episode 3, which means you were actually before this. It was like 6 separate stories we were filming at the same time, so it was hard to keep track of it all the time, especially when you're doing kind of like bigger emotional scenes.
Okay, thank you.
Hey guys, so myself, I'm actually a video maker and amateur VFX guy, so I know like how hard it is to do all like the VFX work, and basically everything I know I learned from like you guys, Brandon, Sam, Nico. So my question is, could you explain what's the most difficult VFX shot you've ever done?
The most difficult VFX shot I've ever done. This is not going to be an interesting answer, but so visual effects fall into two categories. It's either whiz bang, oh my gosh, did you see it when Optimus Prime got thrown through the building, or when Superman punched a dude through a building? That was, which was the whole movie, I think, actually. So did you see Superman when Superman punched something through something else? Like, so those are like the whiz bang, like awesome. Everyone knows this visual effects shots. But then there's the visual effects shots that need to happen because, okay, we're tipping a car and there's a cable that needs to be painted out, and that can't be there in the final. So it's visual effects that nobody ever knows that you've ever done. Those are the hardest ones because they have to be perfect, otherwise people know that you've done it. And then if you do it right, if no one knows you've done it, then no one knows you've done it. So then you're just like, oh, all that work to do nothing, essentially. So the hardest thing I've ever done was there was a van that was getting tilted, and it was being yanked by a bunch of ropes and stuff, and the camera was moving, and I was just painting that out. It was many days for something that in the end was indistinguishable from if the van actually just tilted over. So yeah, visual effects can be really crappy. So generally we try and keep it to cool effects, cool stuff that you can tell is going on, and we do all the crappy cleanup stuff on the set. So that would be the hardest one, as unexciting as that is.
Yeah, sometimes doing the best stuff might not there to be seen.
I know, right?
What's up, guys? My favorite video was visual effects time. I'm also
with Harley.
I'm a compositor for college, and my biggest question is, do y'all have like a render farm or any kind of server base setup? No.
Not really. Generally, it's just we run everything through PCs. PCs that you can put in the carry-on bag, actually.
Oh, fun. So that causes render times.
So yeah, no, we don't have any sort of render farms, no render outhouses, no render furniture or of any kind. We have a server that we store stuff on, but you can do everything with just like the modern GPUs, and GPU accelerated stuff nowadays is where we're at, because we're not doing crazy 3D stuff.
Yeah, the machine we're using right now to cut season 2 is pieced together from parts we bought off of Amazon Prime, you know? So you could use the same stuff.
All right, thanks.
So if you have a farm, we'll borrow it.
All right, my question is usually about, I've spent hours watching all of your videos every now and then. Maybe I like the time crisis, maybe not. But my question was, like, how do you come across all the extras? Like, this is a kind of a further question for the props, like this.
Is that a prop?
Is that a weapon? Oh boy.
The escape hatch, Matt, quickly.
How do we come across the props?
Like, how do you come across the props and like the extras?
Extras. So here's the key with extras, and here's anybody who makes movies. Here's your chance, by the way. Who wants to be an extra in the movie? Okay, everybody who needs extras. Okay, look around. Look around at the first set of hands. Come back up again. Good. Look around. Find these people and talk to them. Get their contact information. Figure out where they are. That's how you find extras. That's the easiest way. Is you go to you go to events, you go to places where people congregate, and you start asking, and you start talking to people, and it's friends of friends, and all the way down. Props-wise, we just we usually it's a lot of our stuff is based on, and it's a really good sort of tip as far as filmmaking goes, is do stuff based on what you have, right? So Robert Rodriguez, what was the thing that he did for
El Mariachi? The El Mariachi story. Robert Rodriguez.
Oh, Rebel Without a Crew?
Yeah.
The book? Yeah, Rebel Without a Crew is a really good book that teaches you all of these tricks to writing your stories and crafting your films around the resources you already have, If you know you only have 4 friends, you can't get 100 extras, you craft a story that revolves around 4 people, or the props that you have or can build on your own.
Yeah, so in El Mariachi, he was like, I have this prop gun, a hospital in Mexico, my brother's truck. Like, he had just put a list together of everything he had, and then just made made a movie around that. So you don't have to go around being like, oh, I gotta find this prop and that stuff. It's like, it's much faster, much better to get going by just.
And we still do that a bunch. We're done with VGHS. We're like, oh, we have this like set still, or we have this prop. this is a good short we can do from it.
If you want to get ambitious and you do want to attract a few extras, pizza helps.
Pizza, food.
Order some pizzas, people will come.
Yep.
So it's the basic idea. It's the basic idea. If you build it, they will come.
Yep.
But if you ask people politely and offer them food. In
Yeah.
exchange for their
Food
time,
is
they
key.
will also come.
All right. So holding a gun to your head wouldn't do that.
Are you seriously? Are we gonna?
No,
are
no,
we
no,
gonna
just
throw
pizza.
down right now?
You're fine, man. You're fine, Freddie. But
because if we have
just
to throw
pizza
down,
and
like I just have to empty my pockets and we can throw down. But.
No, you're fine. No, just I was curious about that
Okay,
because my
cool.
sister's boyfriend used to do this.
Okay, gun to the head might help, but I would recommend pizza first. Pizza to the
first.
mouth. Pizza to
Negotiations
the mouth.
first, and then if they negotiates deteriorate.
Pizza and soda to the mouth as opposed to weapons to the head. As a shirt. No, it's not.
Hi, I love VGHS, and I was just wondering, is Brian's mom dead, or...
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
Does the cat feed her?
Well, hold on. So this is actually, you're actually touching on, so this will give you a really good insight into like how much thought goes into something that's such a throwaway joke. Matt, could you talk a little bit about how much thought went into Brian's mom dynamic and why we, like, it seems like just such a whatever thing, right?
No, that was one of the first, and we were I think just like a day ago, me and Will were saying maybe we shot ourselves in the head, to go back there, shot ourselves in the head by not having Brian's mom be like a character, but we had to get through that story as quickly as possible, and it was a really like carefully discussed way to represent her, because we knew Brian was just going to leave the school, and he was just going to have to go, and we wanted to paint him in a way where, you know, he was bullied, he was kind of a loser, he didn't have much of a home life, you know, you don't see his dad. But we also didn't want it to be too sad, and if we felt like if you saw the mom, and she was essentially more or less an alcoholic figure, like she just plays games all day and doesn't take care of him and uses Hot Pockets for food. If you saw her, it would be sad, it'd be tragic, it'd be this like kind of depressing figure. So instead we just did it very silhouette, it was very cartoonish. It was just, you saw glimpses of her and you understood, I think everybody kind of gets it, that she's not much of a mom, but it's not depressing.
Yeah,
it's just kind of like Brian leaves.
This is a huge discussion to be like, okay, do we show her at all? So we're just like, okay, we'll just shoot the head so you know that there's a figure, but we didn't want to go down this route of like, what is his home life? Why is she addicted to this? Why is he going to school? Is he just abandoning her? Because as soon as you start to think about that, it kind of takes you away from that storyline. And probably the easiest way to deal with parents is every like story about a kid or a teenager has to deal with the parent question, right? Like it's something they have to address. Harry Potter, dead, just gone, right? A lot of them, by the way, they just go that way. It's like, parents, what parents? They're dead, it's tragic. We can move on from that, you know? You'll notice this, and so you'll notice that was the same thing we were thinking about here. We're like, okay, well, how do we handle that, and how do we get to the story that we want to tell without getting bogged down in the real human issues that show up around parents and abandonment.
We show the other, Key's dad shows up in this season, and then obviously you have Freddie. And then, not to ruin too much, but essentially we reveal that Brian's dad died when he was very young. So Brian, we always wanted to paint Brian as like a guy who's a lot more mature, or at least has experienced a lot more. Again, he's kind of, you know, his family doesn't have a lot of money, his parent died, et cetera. I think we reference his mom a bit in season 2. I think we literally have a line where there's one episode's Parents' Day, and he says something like, well, my dad's dead, and it's double XP weekend, so I don't think my mom's coming. Like, that's literally summarizes all of Brian. He doesn't have his dad, and his mom plays video games and stuff, takes care of him.
So, but incidentally, yes, the cat is feeding the mom, is what. Through a complicated series of mechanisms that he rigged up, which will be, yeah.
How's it going, Freddie?
Yo, what's up?
First, I want to say I love all of your videos, including mostly Arcade Dominator.
Thank you.
I love meeting the Arcade Dominator right now. My question is, how did the overall concept of VGHS come to fruition?
So Video Game High School originally was pitched as it was like a one-line thing. So, okay,
if you want to be honest, it was Chris and Will. Literally, we're driving we were doing another like movie. We were coming up with something called Hellstorm, and this is just too fun. They said, what's the most pandering idea we could come up with to pitch Freddie? And they came up with the term Video Game High School as like a joke. And then Freddie said it, and we started talking about it, and it just kind of started being
this
like,
was in
hey,
2009.
Yeah, it was a long
It was even
time.
before the YouTube channel existed.
And originally it was a lot more like the clicks, and everybody played
We were
games,
gonna
and
have
it
like,
was.
oh, it's gonna be, we'd have the arcade guys, and they would all be just hardcore, and they'd be sitting there, and there's the arcade click.
And the Wii kids would be like the chess club that nobody liked, and it was like very just like pandering and silly, and
which, by the way, is still something that
it's
we could
funny.
do.
Yeah,
Like the motion control kids. Well, what losers?
Yeah.
You know. But we didn't have a story really. And then
Yeah.
here's a crazy thing. Way back when we first started the thing, we were originally planning on doing a season of it, 40 minutes long. 8 5-minute episodes, which
It was only 5 episodes.
It was 5 8-minute episodes, and it was even like we were even talking to like Machinima way back in the day. I was like, hey, does this sound like something you guys are interested in? You know, like this, it's changed a lot, and it's been a long evolution of it. But it basically started from the words video game high school, and then like, what would this be? What was this whole thing? And there was a whole side plot that we had. So there was this. It originally had like a janitor that was like a Mr. Miyagi type.
He was like a mentor character.
And it was like,
we talked about Daigo, the big Evo tournament moment and stuff like that. He learned pinball and all this other stuff.
Yeah, it's like the whole thing with it originally was that he was like, in order to get good, Brian like got into, which I feel like still might be worth going into, but he gets into pinball because it's like the original game. It's like physical, it's tactile.
Well, you don't play against anybody but yourself.
Right.
That was like bullcrap, like philosophy.
And you can only lose, you know, it's like, so it's definitely changed quite a bit.
It just slowly evolved into, the things that really got to us was just, we like doing like a kind of a teen drama, and we like being goofy, which is why we always joke that the hover bike is like a test of like, look, if you can handle the hover bike, you can get the rest of the show. Like, the show's weird, it's not supposed to be super realistic. And it was an excuse to do that, plus the action scenes that we love to do. It's like how many people can do a teenage drama comedy with gunfights and car races. So it just kind of evolved from that.
Thank you.
Hello.
Pinball's still a good idea.
Pinball's a good idea.
I'm a big video guy, and I love making videos. And one thing I don't really care much about the popularity as much as I do just like the budget crisis that I have whenever I try to make videos. I've never been able to finish things that I started because of that, and I wondered.
Like you run out of cash monies?
What?
Like you run out of cash?
Yeah, well, it's not just that. It's just like I don't know. I was talking to my friend Jake Coker, and he told me that you went to LA, and that's how you kind of started. You got professional, and you guys got popular there. But I guess my question is, how did you start, and how did you get to where you are today?
So don't forget. So it's a quick thing to address. Don't worry about LA. LA doesn't mean anything. LA is actually really expensive in a kind of crappy city. So where are you at right now?
I live in Arkansas.
We live in where?
Arkansas.
Okay, because if you said LA, that would have gotten awkward so fast. But if you have a camera, if you have some friends who are interested, and if you have a Netflix subscription, like literally these 3 things are all that you need, and a computer that has been made in the last 10 years. Those 4 things is all you need to get going. And those 4 things is all you need to get good, too, because all filmmaking is, really, if you get down to it, is you're talking to people, but you're not using words. You're telling people things, and you're telling stories, but you're using pictures instead of words. To do that, that's it, and so in the same way, if you want to be a writer, there's no you don't have to go to New York to be a writer. If you have a typewriter, you can do it. If you have the tools, you can do it. But the key is doing it. The key is getting out there. The key is trying things, looking at other movies, looking at things that are good, watching a lot of movies, understanding how that works. It's like you can't expect to be good at guitar if you don't listen to music. If you don't listen to any guitar music, you can't expect to be a good writer if you refuse to read anybody else. And it's the same that goes with filming. You can't expect to be a good filmmaker if you don't watch movies like crazy. Try and learn everything you can from every movie that you see.
Well, I feel like it's obviously great that film's becoming more democratic, and you have digital, and it's cheaper, and you can do all that stuff. I think one of the unfortunate side effects, because we're definitely digital guys, we're not like film's better than digital or anything like that, but one of the side effects is people can become very tech-oriented, and your idea is kind of like, well, I don't have the budget to do this. But like we've been doing this for years, and I still don't feel like I know anything compared to, other directors out there and the basics, like how to cover a dialogue scene correctly. There's so much to do. There's so much in film that has nothing to do with effects. And you can have the best effects on the planet, and you get Transformers 3, which sucks. You have no effects at all, and you just have a camera and people, and you come up with once, which is no budget. It's just 2 people who can sing, and the filmmaking's so beautiful and perfect. But the budget shouldn't matter. Like, there's so much to learn in filmmaking. It's something that should take you your whole life to get good at. There's so much to learn without any effects, any sort of technology. Don't worry about it. Just come up with a story that doesn't require technology and do what you can with your budget.
So yeah, you're right. You can't do, the guys who made Once can't do Transformers 2
Thank
or
God.
3 or 1. But that's fine because the story fits for what they're able to accomplish. You know, it's the same thing as like, I see a guitar over here, right? It's just, it reminds me because like, I knew a guy who's like, he's like, yeah, you know, it's like, I'm trying to save up for this guitar and this amp and stuff. It's like, how about you just play music before you talk about how your guitar's not perfect and how, because there's always going to be something. It's like, oh, but no, it's not going to be. It's the same with cameras. We should wait. I mean, I've seen this happen too, where people are like, I'm going to hold off on making this movie because I want this camera to come out. Oh, the new Scarlett, the new red sensor, the upgrade. Yeah, we're going to wait for that one before we do anything. It's like, why? What? Really? Like, you're going to wait for, there's always going to be stuff coming down the line. And if you sit there and wait for it, and you sit there hoping to try and afford it and you can get it, you're never going to get to a point where you actually start making something.
Get a yellow legal pad, a pencil, write something, borrow a camera, grab your brother, your sister, your parents, or your friends, go shoot a movie in your backyard.
That should cost you $30 worth of pizza.
Yep.
That's it.
Looks like we've only got a few minutes, guys. Do you want to do a question lightning round? If
Lightning
possible?
round? All right, let's lightning round.
Let's try to blaze through it.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello. Hey. All right. So I'm a big fan of Video Game High School, and I saw that you talked about Harley and your brother, and also Brian from 5 Seconds Filmed. Are there any other YouTuber cameos, like any from Rooster Teeth or any from anything
there
else?
There are a few cameos coming, but I'm not saying anything because
there's some
these
big
cameos
ones.
will blow
Big
your
ones.
mind. I'm not saying a word because they're too good, but yes, there are cameos coming.
Thank you.
How you doing? Lightning round, right? So, Battlefield 3 commercial.
Yes.
You did that. How'd you do it, or how'd you get told or asked to come on that?
So at the end of the year, every company has to spend their ad dollars they need to spend it, because if they don't spend it, they come in and they're like, hey, last year you guys only spent 50% of your budget. I guess you only need 50% of your budget. So they always spend all their money because they make sure they can get it next year. So at that time, it was around the end of the year, they're like, hey, let's do a video with these guys. Let's do a commercial. So it just kept going through there, and they needed to because they needed to just crank through that. So we did a commercial with it. We did it in 10 days because that's the turnaround time that they needed for it, and it was nuts. And it was probably the most, on a per minute basis, the most expensive video we've done just because it was such a fast turnaround. And originally the idea was, and this sucks at this room. The original idea was that they would load up C4 on a UAV drone, and then the UAV drone would fly over the battlefield, and everyone would see it and start saluting it as they flew out, and then it would just like land on top of a tank and then blow it up. But then they removed it. They removed the fact that you could put C4 on a UAV like in a patch. I'm like, no, why would you do that? So yes, could have been crazier.
Hi, what was your favorite part about making Video Game High School Season 1?
Season 1.
Season 1, down the line.
Season 1, working with my friends and making movies.
Working with
Plain
these
and simple.
guys.
Yeah.
There you go.
Riding in Von Gittin Jr.'s drift car. It was
Oh,
way
yeah.
better. Way better.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Way
Great
better
answer.
than Friends. I don't need any of these guys. It is like a dream. Sometimes you
That's
guys
pretty
have
amazing.
dreams about car drifting. You're like, it's perfect. It's the perfect drift. It was that sustained.
It's unlike anything you've ever felt before. Drifting sideways at 65
I
miles an
remember
hour
Des
is.
just screaming, because when Des was in the car, he ended with just donating, and Des was in the car just screaming.
I've never felt anything like that before.
joy.
It's really awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Boom, crack. Lightning round.
Hi, Freddie. I was wondering what prompted you to pursue filmmaking as a career, and what inspired you to keep on going?
Let's go online on that one.
My father was a big film fan, so he was always showing me classics when I was a kid, even B movies. And my parents worked full-time jobs, so I was babysat by HBO, and just watched a boatload of movies when I was a kid, and that passion just blossomed from there, really.
Yeah, same. Pretty much just watched a lot of movies as a kid, and then for me it was I had like one of those Blockbuster subscriptions where like you could get like 99 cents like old movies, and I just randomly walked to a Blockbuster one day and was like, I'm just gonna pick the weirdest movie I see. And I saw Gold Rush by Charlie Chaplin, and it was something about seeing, it was so simple that I felt like I could make it, that it's suddenly like the idea of actually making a film is no longer this magical thing that just comes out in theaters. It was like, people sit down and make this, and I started thinking maybe I could do this.
So real quick, our panel's over. You guys have to go. No problem. We don't mind. I'll just continue answering this stuff. Matt, really? Gold Rush was the weirdest thing in Blockbuster at the time?
As a kid, it's like this guy with a hat is all black and white. It was like, what is this movie? So yeah, I rented it.
Okay, fair enough. I made movies in high school, and then from high school, just kept going, and it was just so much fun. It was better than what I was going to do, which was be a computer programmer. So instead, I decided to do movies.
All right.
So yes, this is the end.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks again.
We have a autograph signing thing happening at 4 o'clock at the autograph booth. So hope to see you guys there. Season 3.
We're writing it now.
Writing it. Don't know about the timing because we got to finish this one first, but sooner rather
Watch
than later.
season 2. Share it. Tell people you love it.
Yeah.
Thanks
so much,
again, everybody. Thanks, Rooster Teeth.